What is up, everybody? We got the top five QBs of the 2023 class we're going to be talking about in this video. We've done the RBs, we've done the wide receivers, we've done the tight ends. So let's get into my top five of the QBs. I'll tell you a little bit about each of them. Before we get into that video, guys, do me a favor there, hit that like, hit that subscribe if you do play Dynasty Fantasy Football. But let's get right into it. So Hendon Hooker, QB5 of the 2023 class for me, 6'3", 208 from Tennessee, 25 years old, so he is a little bit of an older prospect, which we don't love coming out of college. But look at that hand size, 10.5 inches, that hand size. So he's got some very big hands there. Let's look at some of the stats here. In 2022, before he got injured, over 3,000 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Also ran for 786 yards, QB rating of 123, completion percentage of 69.2%. So the guy can obviously play. He did get injured toward the ACL, so he's got to recover from that. So Hendon Hooker has the size, he has the mobility, he has the accuracy. He's athletic. He has the NFL arm. Definitely has the NFL arm. We mentioned before the huge hands. He's got a quick release, and he does show that he can throw some touch passes to all the different levels, short, intermediate, and deep down the field. A little bit raw as a player. He's got to be way more consistent, especially, out of the pocket. Once he gets out of the pocket, he kind of has trouble looking down the field, or he makes these kind of bad decisions, and his mechanics can get all out of whack sometimes once he gets out of the pocket. Definitely needs to work on his footwork in the pocket. He kind of just stands up straight, almost flat-footed, and then he holds the ball a little bit too long as well at times. So, some of the things that we're worried about, of course, are going to be, number one, the ACL injury. He's got to recover from that. So that's going to push him down, the NFL draft board. The other one is going to be the adjustment from kind of the offense that he was running in Tennessee, because now he's got to execute an NFL offense, and which was very different from what he ran, in college. So he's got to also learn that part of it as well. But overall, he's a smart player, good prospect. He's got some of the tools that we do look for. But he is going to be the QB number 5 coming off the board in rookie drafts. I mean, depending where this guy gets drafted, again, the ACL is going to push him down. If he can find himself in a good situation, you should be able to get him, late in your rookie drafts, third round, fourth round, possibly. Unless he goes to a real good spot, maybe you have to pick him up in the second. Number 4 QB of the 2023 draft is going to be Anthony Richardson, 6'4", 236, out of Florida. Last season finished with 2,500 yards passing to go along with another 654 on the ground. 17 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So, I mean, Anthony Richardson is just a very raw but crazy, crazy athletic athlete. He did have a decent QB rating. Well, solid actually, 84.3 QB rating. So that was solid. He's got the height and the weight to be an NFL quarterback, and he's got in this class actually the highest upside, but he's also got the absolute lowest floor. So that's the thing with Anthony Richardson. He's kind of one of those hit or miss prospects, but he's got a very quick release, and he throws an accurate and good deep ball. He's got a cannon for an arm. So the guy's got like 10% body fat, runs some 4.40s that can kill you with the ball in his hands. I mean, just crazy dynamic. The ability to run the football, the ability to, dodge sacks or get in and out of the pocket. He's got a powerful arm, NFL arm, so there's nothing to worry about there. He's got the size. He's got some tools that we do look for. You watch the film, there are times he uses his eyes and his body to manipulate defenders to open up lanes to pass the football. So he does a very good job of moving guys around to open up lanes, to give himself to pass the football and get guys open. So that is one thing that I do really like about Anthony Richardson, where he's just crazy, crazy raw. I mean, he's got a horrible habit of fading off like his back foot when he's throwing the football. He only had 1 year starter experience, so he's not that experienced. His mechanics are absolutely horrible, so he's got to obviously work on that. It's just inaccurate as a passer, 53%, completion percentage. He holds the ball way too long. He routinely just misses easy routine completions. Definitely got to clean up the decision making. He's got to be better. I mean, and then on top of that, he struggled against the good defenses. So, that's something that, that we worry about also. So, what does the NFL think about Anthony Richardson? That's really what's going to matter here, and matters where he gets drafted. because what the NFL thinks is going to tell us everything that we need to know. Is this going to be another Malik Willis situation like last year, projected first round pick, and all of a sudden he doesn't go in the first round. He falls. So again, Anthony Richardson, I mean, right now he's going in the first round in rookie drafts. He's being projected as a first round pick. So if that does happen, he's going to go in the first round of rookie drafts, right in that range with those other QBs. If they're all picked in the top 10, top 15, I mean, they're all going to be right in that middle, right in that early to middle of that first round there. But again, number 4 QB in the class has the possibility to be the star. But again, he's going to be one of those hit or miss, highest upside, but also the lowest floor. Number 3 QB of the class is going to be Will Levis, 6'3", 222, about to be 24 years old. Look at that 2021 season, 2,800 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, 13 intos. And then in 2022 comes back and kind of regresses a little bit. Only throws for 2,400 yards, throws for 19 touchdowns, and then throws for 10 intos. So that is one thing that is a concern where we expected Will Levis to kind of take that step up in 2022, and he didn't. He kind of just stayed the same or actually a little bit regressed a little bit. The 10 intos, I mean, that's a lot for not the greatest competition that he is playing against. In 2021, he had a 90.6 PFF grade, and then in 2022, we talk about the regression that dropped to 68.6. So huge drop off, from 21 to 22. But Will Levis has got extreme potential. They're comparing him to Josh Allen as that typical huge guy that can run the football, has a cannon for an arm, that prototypical QB, where he's tall, he's got the height, he's got the weight and the frame that the NFL loves to see. Super smart guy, 4.0 GPA. And he has experience both under center and in shotgun formation. So that will help him, of course, obviously in the NFL with an NFL offense. But he's an athletic guy who is a threat to leave the pocket, just like any other rushing QB. So using those legs is, of course, a huge strength of his. He's got elite arm strength, he's got good accuracy, and he's got a quick release. Like Anthony Richardson, he is a boom or bust kind of guy. He's got a crazy ceiling, but also a low floor. Can he become the next Josh Allen? Can he take those next steps? So he's got all the tools, he's got the talent, he's got the athleticism. It's just got to all be put together. So he's got to find himself in a situation where they can really work with him and turn him into something that he actually can be. So he's got to improve his decision making. He's got to improve his mechanics because he is still kind of one of those raw guys, a little bit of a project. He needs to pick up blitzes, pick up different coverages a lot better than what he did. And sometimes he just doesn't have enough patience in the pocket where it's not really breaking down, but he'll just take off. He doesn't have that patience to let things kind of develop there or wait for an open guy. So all in all, he's got to put all of those tools together. He's got to process things a lot better. He's got to not have as much turnovers. His decision making has to improve. Right now, Will Levis is projected a top 10, top 15 pick in the NFL draft. So he's going in that first round after Bryce Young, after CJ Stroud, vice versa, whoever you have 1 and 2. After those guys, Will Levis is that next guy up, and he's being taken right there after those guys in that mid first round of your rookie drafts. QB2 of the 2023 class is going to be CJ Stroud for me. Really, it's like 1A and 1B, but CJ Stroud, 6'3", 205, Ohio State, 21 years old. Come down to his stats here, 2021, 4,400 yards, 44 touchdowns to go along with 6 intos. And then in 2022 comes back with 3,600 yards and 41 touchdowns to go along with 6 intos. So CJ Stroud obviously has the height, the frame, and the build that we're looking for in a QB going into the NFL. He led the best offense in the nation in 2021. If we go back to that, don't forget where he had all of those weapons, and he's had weapons even this past year as well. But obviously, 2021 was the craziest. And he was finalist for the Heisman Trophy, of course. But 88.9 PFF grade last season, 14th among all quarterbacks in the country with at least 100 attempts. QB rating of 125. Led the nation in passing efficiency in 2022. Was second in 2021. I mean, broke the Rose Bowl single game record with 573 passing yards. Clean pocket, 71% completion rate, 35 touchdowns, 93.4 PFF grade. I mean, the guy is just can play football. But on the opposite side of those stats, under pressure, he did struggle. Only 41% completion percentage with 6 touchdowns and 42 PFF grade when he's under pressure. But all in all, Stroud, great QB, obviously, continuously in that Heisman conversation. What are some of the things we like? What are some of the things that we don't like? He does get the ball out very quick, makes very good split second decisions. Great on intermediate and short accuracy. Great in the pocket, resetting his feet, manipulating, doing what he needs to do in the pocket to move around. So has a very good feel for the pocket. Great vision and arm talent, obviously. Big, strong guy. He's a pocket passer, but he can run also. It's something that we haven't seen much. He's a pocket passer, exactly what the NFL is looking for. He can place the ball anywhere pretty much that he wants. He can make all the different throws that he'll need to make. And against Georgia, I mean, the best defense in college, amazing performance against Georgia. Basically put the team on his back. 348 passing yards, 4 touchdowns against the literal best team in college football. And he shredded that secondary, which is full of NFL talent. So he also added 70 yards on the ground, which is something that we've been wanting to see from Stroud that we haven't seen as much as we want to. Hopefully, in the next level in the NFL, he will use his legs a little bit more because it just makes him that much more dangerous. But that is one thing that we kind of thought was a weakness in his game was that he didn't run enough or didn't have the ability to run. But he's shown us that he can do it when he needs to. Some of the negatives would be, as we just talked about, maybe not being as mobile as he should be. So hopefully he can change that, going into the NFL and become more mobile because he can do it. But playing off script is another one. When getting out of the pocket, playing off script when the play breaks down is something we want to see more of. Can he perform with some lesser talent maybe around him? He did have Olave, he did have Wilson, he did have JSN, and now, Marvin Harrison, Ibuka. I mean, the guy's had a ton of talent around him. So, can he still produce at a high level, maybe without some of that high talent around him? Can he make guys better? So we'll see as we get into the season, of course, and where he gets drafted. But CJ Stroud, for me, the number 2 QB off the board, the 1B, really, not even the number 2. Coming off in your rookie drafts as the 102, 103, 104. I mean, early first round, we'll see where he lands, but excited to see what happens with CJ Stroud. Bryce Young, the QB1 of the 2023 draft class for me, or 1A, if you want to call it, 6', 194 out of Alabama, supposedly 6 foot. It looks like they're saying he's more around 5'10 and a half, which puts him in that Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson category. So if we look down at the stats in 2021, where he was the Heisman winner and many other awards that he won, wind up throwing for 4,800 yards, and 47 touchdowns to go with 7 intos. In 2022, had the shoulder injury, so missed a few games, but wound up with 3,300 yards on 32 touchdowns, only 5 intos on the season. So, I mean, Bryce Young is a very high IQ quarterback, and he is just elite. I mean, he can be really an elite QB in the NFL. Size is one of the concerns that we do talk about, but I'm not too worried about that. I'll get into that in a minute. But I mean, as a player, Bryce Young is just a guy that is going to come through in the clutch for you all the time. We've seen that time and time again. And he's great at extending plays. When the play breaks down, he can extend the play. He can scramble. He uses his legs. And in 2022, I mean, he lost Mechie, he lost Jamison Williams, and that kind of revolved the offense all around Jahmyr Gibbs. So, he did lose some of the talent that he had around him in 2022. Make all the throws on the football field. There's a couple NFL guys when you hear him on TV and they're saying that he's like a little Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if I would go that far and say that, but the guy can be an elite level QB in the NFL. Hopefully, we get a good spot with some weapons around him and they can try and build. Really, only 2 negatives, and it's all related to the same thing, which is going to be his size. How tall is he really? How much does he really weigh? How our GM's going to evaluate him coming in because of his size. The other negative is going to be, injury. I mean, but we've seen Russell Wilson, we've seen Kyler Murray become elite quarterbacks in the NFL, especially for fantasy. So, this is a guy that we are looking at coming in and saying, hey, this guy can be an elite fantasy player in the NFL if he can find himself in a decent spot with some good weapons around him, and hopefully he can grow. And if he can be what we think he can be, what he's shown us so far in college and being able to, really
score touchdowns, move the football, being able to just see everywhere on the field, make all of the throws, being able to rush, use his legs, scramble out of the pocket, buy extra time, being able to hit his receivers, throwing wide receivers open. We'll see where he gets drafted, but I still think he's going to be the first QB off the board. I wouldn't pass up on him if I was the NFL GM. I do like CJ Stroud as well, but again, I think Bryce Young just has something a little special about him that we don't want to miss out on.
But that'll wrap it up for the QBs, the top 5 QBs of the 2023 draft. Let me know what you guys think, whether you agree, whether you disagree. Do you have a different top 5? Do you have CJ Stroud first and Bryce Young second? Let me know down there in the comments. But guys, do me a favor there, hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you do play Dynasty Fantasy Football, thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time.